Between the 17th and 19th centuries in England, an unusual and controversial practice emerged: wife selling. In an era when formal divorce was almost impossible for the majority of lower-class Britons, some couples turned to an alternative solution. Instead of navigating the expensive and inaccessible legal system, they sold their wives in public auctions. It may sound shocking today, but this peculiar custom became surprisingly common in certain parts of Britain. The root of wife selling lies in England's strict and expensive divorce laws. For most of this period, formal divorce was a privilege reserved for the wealthy, as it required an individual act of parliament. The legal and social barriers to ending a marriage left many lower-class couples feeling trapped in unhappy or untenable situations. With few options, some turned to the public marketplace for a form of informal divorce that symbolized the severing of their marital ties. The process of wife selling was often highly public and ritualistic. These sales typically took place in bustling public spaces like markets, taverns, or fairs, venues where other goods were bought and sold. The husband would lead his wife into the crowd with a rope, halter, or ribbon tied around her waist or neck. This gesture symbolized that the wife was being offered for transfer to another man. The husband would then announce the sale and invite bids from any interested parties. Once an agreement was reached, the wife would be handed over to her new owner, often accompanied by a handshake or the exchange of a token, such as a coin or a written contract. Though the practice may seem degrading today, historical records suggest that not all cases of wife selling were exploitative or forced. In many instances, the wife was a willing participant. Some couples mutually agreed to end their marriage this way, especially if the wife had already formed a new relationship and wished to be sold to her new partner. The sale was seen as a symbolic divorce and remarriage all in one. For many working-class Britons, it provided a practical, albeit unorthodox, way of resolving marital issues without legal recourse. However, not all wife-selling events were consensual. There were cases where women were sold without their consent, treated as little more than property in an unequal society. Even in consensual cases, the practice reflected the deeply entrenched social and legal inequalities of the time, in which women were viewed as subordinate to their husbands. One of the most famous recorded instances of wife selling took place in 1832 in Carlisle, England. A man named Joseph Thompson brought his wife, Mary Ann, to a local market and publicly sold her to another man for 20 shillings. Remarkably, Mary Ann was fully aware of the arrangement and willingly went with the buyer, whom she had already been romantically involved with. The event drew a large crowd and was widely reported in local newspapers, highlighting how public and sensational these events could be. Despite its widespread occurrence, wife selling was never officially legal under English law. Authorities generally turned a blind eye to the practice, considering it a private matter between the parties involved. However, as societal attitudes shifted in the early 19th century, public tolerance for wife selling began to decline. The rise of the women's rights movement, combined with growing press coverage, led to increased scrutiny and condemnation of the practice. The Matrimonial Causes Act of 1857 was a turning point. This legislation introduced a more accessible legal process for divorce, making it possible for ordinary people to dissolve their marriages without resorting to public sales. As divorce became more attainable, wife selling gradually disappeared. By the late 19th century, the practice was largely a thing of the past, remembered as a strange and embarrassing relic of Britain's social history. Wife selling offers a fascinating glimpse into the social constraints and desperate measures taken by those trapped by an oppressive legal system. While it may seem shocking and bizarre today, it serves as a reminder of how societal norms and laws shape human behavior. What do you think about this strange historical practice? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring history's strangest stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.